Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Good afternoon, Beer Geeks. It's Friday. It's 5pm. This is episode 30.
No way.
And I still haven't found a different introduction.
I mean, you know, you're still in your early 30s, mate. You've just left the 20s. You don't know what you're doing in the world. So it's understandable that you've not found a new intro.
I mean, I'd also say that 30s is when you should start figuring that out. And I don't know whether I'm talking to my actual self or whether about this podcast at this point. But I will find out a new intro for episode 31. We also hit just, I think, last week's video, maybe the one with Rufus Hound. That was episode 50 of the podcast overall. So we are hitting lots of milestones, and we've got other milestones to talk about later in the podcast, haven't we, Bradley?
We have. So what you're saying is we've hit our midlife crisis with total podcasts. We're at 50. So we've probably got, well, if this was about a human, we've got probably less years than we've spent on this planet.
Wow, blimey! I hope there's no 50-year-olds listening to this.
Yeah, but anyway, and in our silly little Friday podcast, we're just entering, you know, the point in our life, a podcast life, where we should be finding our feet. We're hitting our stride, right?
We should be, Brad. Yes, we should.
Yes.
Right, let's get on with the show before we all grow old. We're going to start with a quick announcement tomorrow. That is the 14th of November. We are doing November's live show. We've teamed up with the amazing Siren Brew, and they've come up with an ace beer box full of West Coast IPAs, red ales, imperial stouts, oak-aged lagers, New England pale ales. There's loads of cool stuff in there. Unfortunately, you can't buy the box anymore, but we sold plenty of them. But you can still drink along with us tomorrow at 8pm as we interview the founder of Siren, Darren Angley. So that's 8pm on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Announcement done. Nailed it. Let's dive straight in. What are we talking about this week with our video, Brad?
Well, I mean, we are talking about another hype train, which obviously everybody loves a hype train, right?
Woo woo.
We all got on board the hype train this week, Johnny. Destination Hudson Valley.
Yeah, so this is a brewery, the first brewery, we say it in the video, the first brewery that's been on our hype train that we've not visited in person. And so this was a brewery that was purely based on hype, the fact that we included them. And we knew that they were very famous for their sour IPAs, or sour New England IPAs. So they make what we thought would be very juicy but quite tart IPAs. It actually turned out that at least one of those beers was extremely balanced, not that juicy, very nuanced, and full of lovely lemon and barley and grapefruit notes. And it was one of the best, quick sour beers I think I've ever had.
Yeah, it was super yummy, and I could drink pints of it. I just thought it was great. I think we might have said, but I think it got cut, that it was a bit like drinking like Robinson's lemon barley or something. Did we say that? Was that a thing?
Yeah, I think we did say that. I think maybe I cut it because we used that comparison a lot, actually. It seems to be if you have a hoppy sour, it just brings us back to childhood, which is a really powerful thing, and it's done all the time in craft beer, appealing to the nostalgic love we have for whether it's like candy/sweets or whether it's I mean, there's a roast beef beer, stuff like that. That nostalgia is a really powerful, I guess, marketing tool, and craft beer really goes for it. We'll get into that actually with our question for the day that's coming up later. But most of the video was focused around the last beer.
I would have said most of the video was focused around my stupid hat, but yeah, most of the video was focused around the last beer for certain. Yeah.
Have you changed your tune now? It is a stupid hat.
No, I love that hat. It's a great hat. We'll get onto the hat in a bit, but maybe the beer's stupid.
The beer was monumentally stupid, and for me, undrinkable.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've got like a ridiculously sweet tooth, but I was feeling fatigued after a couple of mouthfuls. I think you poured yours away, but I did endeavour with mine. But I won't say I particularly enjoyed it. But I was like, I'm gonna drink it, so I drank it. But
it's like, I don't understand why you because I was really cautious in the video. While we mentioned how many ingredients were in there, I was cautious not to say, that's too many ingredients, because when you're cooking, you'll add all kinds of ingredients.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be this idea that if you put so many different things in, it's not going to taste good. In fact, in cooking, to some extent, the opposite is true. But what that beer got wrong, and what so many of these beers get wrong, is the balance of it. So they put all of these ingredients in there, and then all you could really taste was lactose and vanilla. I got none of that pink Himalayan pink salt. I didn't really get any of the... I got maybe a little bit of the coconut kind of vibes, but more in like a horrible buttery, like white chocolate way. It was just horrifically out of balance.
Yeah, it was the chalky, cheap white chocolate mice was the kind of perfect analogy for that beer. Which, as I said, exactly. I don't mind them; they're okay. But that not in a beer. I don't want to be drinking that.
No, and certainly not 440 ml of it. The comment I picked out two comments from this video. One of them was just a guy called James saying pink mice are diabolical, and I couldn't agree more.
I mean,
they were the worst one. When I was having a pick and mix as a kid, I'd skip straight past those weird pink mice things.
What about the pink shrimps? Do you remember those? The like shrimpy ones.
Yeah, they were similar, weren't they? Yeah,
dusty,
I didn't like those
dust.
either.
They're like, I don't know what they're made out of. Maybe like charcoal that had been cremated even more, and then added some dust and some pink colouring. Very strange.
It was all nice. I was a milk bottle guy. I loved the milk bottles and the cola bottles.
Cola bottles, yeah, man. We're talking cola bottles. Milk bottles, though, come on.
They're great.
There's much more variety than a. Well, you should have loved it then.
I like balance in my pick and mix, Brad.
So if we're talking Haribo, other sweets are available. But Haribo, by the sounds of it, you're more of a Star Mix man, and I'm more of a Tangfastic man, potentially. Well, I definitely.
I love Tangfastics.
So you like the Tangfastic?
Pink mice are nothing like Tangfastics.
But you don't get milk bottles in a Tangfastic mix.
No, I mean I enjoy the Star Mix, but I also love Tangfastics.
I love that we're talking about Haribo.
As if it's serious artisan food content.
One of the ways that I lost a lot of weight, Johnny, before we move on, is I stopped eating Haribo because I could easily eat a packet, not a sharing packet, like a proper packet, in about 10 minutes. And I used to do that at work, at my desk, if I was animating something or like in the zone. I'd be just like pounding away at the fucking Haribo. And like maybe like skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, and just having a cheeky bag of Haribo for dinner or several. So Lord, yeah.
What would your mum say?
She'd be very upset, and she was very upset when I would always tell her I'd done that. She'd be like, "What have you eaten for lunch? Haribo and a can of Coke." She would be very upset, very, very upset.
Your concentration must have been up and down.
I don't know, man. I'm a sugar junkie. I just run off sugar, but I don't anymore. I've tried to go cold turkey on it, but it's so hard. It's so hard. But anyway, you had a comment. I've also got a comment from this video, which is directed at my hat, which got a lot of attention. I'm not going to say it got a lot of good attention. I've been compared to all sorts of women from all sorts of
Keira Knightley was
rom-coms.
my favourite. I think that's the one I was picturing when I mentioned it.
That was so fucking cheeky, that comment, actually. Where is that? Have you got that one? Maybe. Oh, yeah, here, I've got it. That was Leo Jakowski said to you, Keira Knightley wore a hat similar to that in Love Actually to cover a spot. Might be what you're thinking of, Johnny. Cheeky bugger. I would also
what
say
was your
that,
comment? But
well, I'd say that Bob
I don't want to
Dylan
dwell on
and-
how I've clearly upset you.
Well, my comment is also kind of about the hat. It's from Mr. Rugelot, and he says, I want a chapter of the Hype Train filmed on an actual train with the train driver cap on, all while making choo-choo sounds before drinking each beer. Oh, and with puzzled passengers around, of course. Which I think is, I just love to do that. I mean, certainly in my youth, and sometimes if I've still got a long journey, train beers, mate, they're fucking cool, aren't they? Love a good train beer.
I still wish I'd filmed us on the trip back from Leeds after we'd gone to visit North Brew.
Good God.
You were half of the train carriage loved you, and the other half hated you. And I had to give a couple of beers to the guy who was sat next to you by way of apology. But that's when we should have jumped on the hype train.
Exactly.
Could have done a North Brew hype train episode with Brad off his rocker.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know what happened that day. I was feeling very, very up.
Lively?
And
Maybe it was the bag of Haribo you smashed on the way up, and then
that
all
could
of
be
the
it. Hey, it's the
not
Haribo
fully
again.
fermented fruit sours.
That'll be it. It was doing some crazy stuff in my stomach with all the beer. But I'm usually I'm well behaved. I'm a very respectful train passenger. I don't tend to put my feet up on the chair, which is obviously not a very nice thing to do for anybody else. And I kind of keep my voice down. I blame you, Johnny. I think you're a bad influence somehow.
Okay, that train journey was not me. Okay, I'm not taking any blame for that incredibly long journey back from Leeds.
Dear. Okay, it's on me. It's on me.
So yeah, I mean, it's obvious, right? We have to do. What would be great is to go over to America, get on their great long train journeys, record a couple of them while on our way to one of the hype breweries.
Yeah,
that's a video that we need to do once lockdown's over.
I would love that. I don't know if you're a bigger fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as I am. I'm not sure you watch it even, but they do a couple of these trips on aeroplanes where they cross America, and they try and break a record by a baseball player who apparently drank something like 38 beers on an internal.
You sure
flight.
you're not talking of Andre the Giant?
No, that is the famous thing that he drank, like a metric fuck ton of beer. Now apparently,
I think that's the world record. Yeah.
Someone called Bugs, I think his name was,
right.
Drank like a crazy amount of tinnies on an internal flight in America, and they try and match this journey, and it's kind of amazing. They wear white t-shirts, and then they've got marker pens, and they mark off on their t-shirts every time they down a beer. Which is a video in itself potentially, but not very responsible. But it just has wafts of that for me. But yeah, let's do that. That's the lowbrow
we'll be
version.
A little bit more highbrow.
Let's do the highbrow. Yeah, we'll do a very refined, ultimate beer destination. Like almost like Sideways, the film Sideways, where they're going around drinking wines in the region, but we're doing it on a train. And heading to some of the best breweries in the world. I love it.
Amen. I actually had another comment from the video, which was something that takes me back to my days as a beer importer, where HD asks, was any Cantillon harmed in the making of this video? A couple of years ago, I posted a blog from the Beer Merchant's website because everyone was buying Cantillon and trading it over to the States for New England IPA. And I became Mud. My name was Mud on some trading forums for a long time. Probably not anymore. So I wonder whether HD is either aware of that or aware of other rants that I've had online about people trading incredible beer that was destined for the UK off to the States, where they get plenty of it, although they don't anymore after the failure of Shelton Brothers. So joke's on them. No, I don't mean that like it's bad for Belgian breweries. We should all be drinking Belgian beer if we can at the moment. But I enjoyed that little blast from the past. I might put a link to the blog if it's still up. on in the show notes, because it was one of my finest bits of writing. Well, I say finest, I mean angriest. So let's move along. So we have the possibility of reaching some pretty big numbers this year, and we wanted to talk about it leading up to a little change we've made to our Patreon. So, Brad, you pointed out to me we're just about to hit 5 million views, right?
Yeah, man. Like, total views, we're at 4.9 million views. So we hopefully within the month, well, certainly by year's end, we should hit 5 million views. Which, you know,
I think we'll hit it. We get about 40,000 views a week, so we'll hit it in 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Just as Christmas is looming, we should hit 5 million views, and then about 2 weeks later, it's currently projected to happen on Boxing Day, we should hit 100,000 subscribers, which means we get a little plaque.
Oh God!
From the YouTubes,
probably one to share as well, so that'll be fun. We'll have to like sort of like a child that's split between a mum and a dad that have divorced. It will have to live between our houses. I'll have to say, well, I've got the plaque on Monday to Wednesday, and you've got it on Thursday to Sunday. What do you reckon?
I'm going to sue for full custody, mate.
To be honest, you deserve full custody, but yeah. I mean, I fucking hope they send 2 out. I hope they send 1 out, but
I think you can get extras. We might be able to buy another one.
Oh God, we got to buy one. Come on, I need one.
Yeah, I think we do.
We
both need one.
Oof.
Yeah, so we're pushing towards that. So all I want to say about that is please keep watching. If you've ever thought, I'm bored today, what should I do? Then just go back and watch all of the back catalogue, maybe starting about 2 years in. So don't go earlier than 2015, because you'll see some things that I probably don't want you to see. But please do keep watching and tell all your friends to subscribe, and we will hit that this year. It was 100,000 subs was our aim for the year, and I never thought we'd get there. It was pretty blue sky thinking, but the fact that we've nearly managed it and might well manage it is really heartening. So thanks to everyone for your support.
And is it 1.5 million views this year we're going to hit?
We're going to hit 1.5 million views this year. So almost a third of our views have come in this year. We've been going for 7. So
it's amazing. Yeah.
That's super exciting. There's a bit of snowballing happening, hopefully, which would be really great and allow us to. Cause, I mean, we don't work on it full time still. We don't pay ourselves very well still, but we're getting there. And that snowballing would really help us get there.
One of the ways we get there, Johnny, is through Patreon, right, mate?
Absolutely.
Like, this is a real lifeline, because obviously we're not making unboxing videos for children's toys here, or computer game reviews by vaguely Nazi influencers. So, we're in a real niche here, Johnny. We've carved out a niche for ourselves, mate, but we don't get those astronomical views, so we don't get the viewing income that some of those videos might get. But what we do get is some love from our Patreons, and that really does help keep the lights on.
Yeah, so Patreon is a subscription service where you can pay a little bit of money each month and you get some benefits. And we've just introduced probably the best benefit of all, which is last week we started a Discord forum. So Discord is like the 21st century version of a website forum. It's like Mumsnet, but for beer geeks now. And you can join that if you join our Patreon. So the minimum input is $1, so it's really not a lot. And we launched that last week, and it has been a mental success. Like, I never thought we'd get so much interaction, so much positivity. It's already started influencing some of the videos that we're making. Like I've been discussing, we've got a homebrew section of the Discord forum where I've been asking questions about our Belgian double that's fermenting right next to me and getting some amazing advice and thoughts on that. So it's a really positive and interactive place where Brad and I are logging in, if we can, every day, just have a chat with people and ask some questions. And, well, we've got a question from the Discord forum. That's where all of this is going. Our question this week is from the Discord forum. But there's lots of, I think, friendships being made as well among everybody that's a Patreon.
That's it, man. Like, for me, the thing that's brought the biggest smile to my face is just seeing, like, without our input, how this is taking off, and that the friendships and the conversations that are going on there are really awesome conversation. There's some great stuff that's being discussed in the homebrewing forum, in the kind of general nonsense forum, in all these different forums we've created. People are running and they're amongst themselves. They've got some great chats going on, and we're hoping that this will kind of be, this environment that all like-minded people can come and be in a loving, not loving sounds weird, but in a
no, it's a loving environment.
Yeah,
maybe a lovely environment.
A lovely environment where there's not there's no shade cast, there's no hate. We want it to be welcoming, and you can be a noob and still feel totally at home, and not like you're going to get laughed at or anything like that. And just it should be a ladder up for people rather than a platform to kick people in the fucking teeth like some of these other things online can be. We don't want it to be a brutal place, and it hasn't been a brutal place. It's amazing, the love and the kind of mutual respect that I've seen coming out. And some of the bants that's going on is great,
and the knowledge as well. I think the most successful part of it so far has been the homebrew talk section, where there's so much knowledge in there that we're going to be tapping up and interacting with, because I've already learned loads. Some people doing lots of exciting mixed fermentation and stuff like that. So what's really nice is YouTube. It's got the comment section, but mostly it's sort of a one way conversation. Yeah. Whereas this Discord is helping it be a two-way conversation. So on that note, our question this week comes from Here for the Beer within the Ask Us Anything section of the Discord forum, in which she's asked, do you think this doesn't taste like beer adjunct trend will fizzle out? Big question. What do you reckon, Brad?
I think it won't, because I think when you're on the kind of beer flavour wheel of discovery, you're gonna go off in some wacky directions. You're gonna get bored of something that tastes like a pilsner, something that tastes like an IPA, something that tastes like whatever, a stout, whatever. And I think there's always going to be a place for the wacky shit where people are like, I've never taste explorers. They're gonna be like, I've never tried anything that tastes like a tomato. Pizza beer, or a banoffee pie beer, or whatever it might be.
Brad's pitching for our next homebrew episode there.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Banoffee. I reckon a banoffee beer would be awesome. Actually,
we've had one on the channel, Brad, when we did the hype train of Angry Chair. Yeah,
I know, but
it was
good.
Delicious as well.
It was great. I love that one.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brad. I don't think that these beers are going anywhere soon. I think that nostalgic pull is too exciting. The pull of people who have never tried beer going, holy shit, that sounds amazing, I need to try that. That's too powerful. And I also think that just as humans, we're too attracted to high sugar, high fat, high ABV, high carb stuff. I think as humans we were sort of indoctrinated to get as much calorie as we could at any point. So anything that is high in calories, we're like, ooh.
Yeah.
So I think there's a sort of basic animal instinct there that is part of why these beers are so successful, along with the marketing. But I do hope, and I have nothing against adjuncts themselves, I do hope that these beers will dry out a little bit. I hope they will get less sweet, because I don't think that it's particularly enjoyable to drink stuff that's that sweet, certainly in the volumes that it's being served.
Do we think that some of these beers that are being made are kind of are they intended for one person to sit at home and drink 400ml on their own, or are they intended to be taken to bottle shares and go, oh look, look at me, I've got this, it's crazy, let's all drink it together and have some sort of funny joint experience, because beer should be fun, right, as well. So
I think if you ask a brewer, he'd say, or she would say, you should definitely share this. It's designed to be shared, like festival kind of thing, like holy crap, give that a go. But if you speak to drinkers, most drinkers are buying these things online, particularly this year, buying these things online and drinking them at home, on their own.
So my point I want to make about this would be, keep buying those wacky beers, guys and girls, but don't drink them. Let's save them for when we can all meet up again post-COVID. Stuff that's going to keep, obviously. And let's all drink them together. Let's all enjoy, embrace the wild side together.
Yeah, that's the joy of these beers, like the shared experience you have. Like, even though that beer, was it Wintermute from Hudson, was rancid, we had a lot of fun drinking it and talking about it, and we'd have done that even if we weren't filming. Like, we'd have both geeked out about that, going, that is terrible for these reasons. Just like we do when we had like the Banoffee one from Angry Chair, and we geeked out and absolutely loved it. We thought it was stellar because it was drier, it was more balanced, it had roasty notes, and then it had all these other character traits. So, yeah, the joy of these beers comes from the setting in which you enjoy them, and so I think it's really snobbish for anyone to go, these beers don't have a place, but I don't think it's snobbish to go, but they could be a lot better.
Yes.
I think that's kind of the balance we have to strike there. You know, be crazy, but do it well. And there are lots of breweries that sadly don't, and lots of breweries that really, really do. Angry Chair and, you know, to be fair, Hudson Valley among them, just that one. I don't really know which one's representative of Hudson Valley overall, but I think our feeling at the end of it was like, if you go to Hudson Valley, you can have some absolutely world-class beer.
Yeah,
just watch out for the pastry.
Another thought I've had on this as well is that these are kind of like clickbait beers. So they're almost like a shortcut for breweries. Maybe they're not as established, or they're struggling to find their niche in the market, and they can put out something totally insane, and people will discover it because they're like, fucking hell, what the hell's that? I need that in my life. I need to get one of those. So it could be that this is a foot in the door. This is your way of doorstepping anyone out there in the world and go, hey, look, we're crazy, we're doing this.
It's exactly that.
Calling card.
Like, doorstepping's a nice kind of way of looking at it. It's like just appearing in front of you, sort of almost uninvited, going,
That's
try
it.
this. And, you know, I do a lot of consultancy for breweries, mostly on the digital side, but also on like the flavour side. And it's conversations that I have with almost every single client that's, you know, maybe struggling a little bit for sales. They start going, well, what do we do? Do we have to start brewing New England IPAs even though we're a mixed fermentation brewery? Or do we have to start adding adjuncts to our stouts now because that's what people want? And, you know, every time my answer is, if you can do it well, then you should do it. But you shouldn't just, if you're going to doorstep, then you need to do it with quality beer. And I think that, you know, drinkers could be a bit more discerning about these beers and force these breweries to do it, because it is a bit of a shortcut to marketing. It's marketing you directly profit from. You know, it doesn't cost you anything. You actually make money while doing marketing, and it's not necessarily healthy for the industry as a whole. So yeah, we just got to keep being discerning and saying, no, that one's way too sweet. You know, I see so many reviews that go, oh, it's amazing for the first sip, 4 stars. And you're like, no, wait, if it's only good for one sip, then it's not a 4-star beer. Don't put 4 stars.
But that is almost what some people want, right? It's just it's like almost like a drug. You know, they're searching the next high, and they're like, well, I've never had this before. I need to experience this.
Yeah.
So they're almost like a junkie in that they're going, right, oh, I'm satisfied now. Oh, that's gross. I don't need any more of it, but I'm satisfied because I've done it. I've like completed it. Next level. On to the next one, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then we're back onto sort of the ticking culture that's also pervasive, yeah. Anyway, we could talk about this for hours, but what we'd love is your views. So we didn't get a recorded question this week or last week, which breaks my heart. So please, if you want to appear on the podcast, email a recorded question to us, craftbeerboys@gmail.com, and we'll play it and we'll answer it in the podcast on air. And do our very best to answer it. I know sometimes we end up dodging the question, but hey, that's what life with Brad is. You go down alleyways you never knew were there. So please do send us those, and please do join us tomorrow night for the Siren live show, and next week for a great video all about cider. So I hope you guys enjoy that one. I need to finish editing it. I've trailed it now, so I've got to. So that's coming on Wednesday, and we will see you guys then. The Bubble Podcast is brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. Head to youtube.com/thecraftbeerchannel to watch this week's video and over 400 more exciting episodes. If you love what we do, please do subscribe and even join our Patreon at patreon.com/craftbeerchannel. Love and beer.